the ATL. We're with another edition of Rodale Live. And of course, we call the show Real Talk with Rodale. Real Talk with Rodale. And got a special guest with me this afternoon, today, rather, on this wonderful, beautiful, glorious day that the Lord has made. And yeah, we're going to just rejoice in it. The legendary Pace sister, everybody. Latrice Pace.
What's up, everybody?
And of course, our extraordinary producer, Brien Andrews, in the building.
Hello.
Man, what a combination, man. This has been a highly anticipated summer anthem. It's morning. Ironically, you talk about the mourning process to get to morning. Can you explain that to our audience?
Yes, the song came from David when he was hiding from his enemies, and God had had him hiding in the cleft of a rock, and He made provisions for him, but he was just like, God, okay, how long? And many of us have been in situations where we're like, okay, how long? Not just MOURNING. That morning of finances or loved ones or jobs and income and social lives, that the pandemic brought on a lot of that, but it came from that. And David was like, God, look, I'm tired. I need the morning, MORNING, to bring me word of your unfailing love. I need to feel something different. I need to see something different. It's time for a change. And that was David's prayer. And I believe that is the word God is sending so many of us in different phases of our lives, where it may be sun shining and mourning. For me, somebody is in a season of darkness and mourning for themselves, but my MOR, my sunny morning, is giving them hope. I pray will give them hope during their weeping morning, and knowing that it doesn't last always.
Yeah.
It was a long time for many of us and for me, but I'm seeing the sun now, and I know that God hasn't left me, even if I'm in the crying morning season.
Yeah. And let's get into that a little bit more in depth because you did go through a mourning period there for a long time, losing your family members.
Yeah,
For both of your parents are deceased as well as mine. I can relate to that. But
yeah.
what was it like, man, losing some of your siblings? I mean, my God, it had to be a time for you.
Yeah, it was very confusing. Very confusing. That's the first time I ever been able to articulate what I felt during that time. I was confused because I was like, surely God, three back to back. Like, what is going on? What have we done? What have I done? Who's sinning? Whose fault is this? you know, what have we done to upset you? And working and living through that is now I realize it's nothing nobody did. God wasn't mad. It's just life.
Mm.
And life comes at all of us in different ways. And whatever way it comes at us, you have to remember this is just a challenge and try our faith. Draw us closer to God. It's not to to drive a wedge, but it's to draw us closer. So that season was very confusing, but I was intentional with, trying to communicate with God as best I could during that time and allowing Him and therapy to comfort me through that season.
I like that last one, therapy, because that is so key to our culture. It
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
We
I couldn't have. Yeah, I couldn't have even. I went through therapy during a divorce, and I realized how helpful that was. And I think with many of us, we feel like therapy means something is wrong with me, but no, it's a lot is going on with me. I need someone to help me process this
yeah.
in a healthy way. So that's all that is.
Well, in case you guys didn't know, otherwise you've been on a rock, obviously. Latrice is an extraordinary talent, seamlessly embodying the roles of singer, songwriter, actress, and a serial entrepreneur. Now, what is a serial entrepreneur, Latrice?
I do a lot of things. That means when this show finishes, I'm going back to doing Treacy Treats for the holidays, and then not only will I do Treacy Treats, I'll do the Black Nativity as well. So it's not like I'm never relishing in one thing. It's like, God, I thank you for that. What's next?
Yeah.
Because you got to keep things flowing. You got to keep things going. You got to stay productive. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Just whatever I find my hands to do, I'm doing it.
Hailing from Atlanta, everybody, renowned first family of gospel, the Anointed Faith Sisters, Latrice was born and raised amidst a rich musical heritage. Her dynamic presence and remarkable versatility have propelled her to heights in the entertainment industry and as an entrepreneur. I gotta say, man, you really have taken this the singer songwriter talent, or you have whatever God has given you to a height to where a lot of people don't get to even experience. What is it like for a Latrice to come from a rich heritage as a singer? Someone told me, matter of fact, just today earlier, that she sounds so much like her sister LaShawn Pace.
Oh wow.
I was like, man, that's a compliment because LaShawn,
It,
Sure is.
she was a,
yes.
she was
A
a big,
huge compliment, and it's something I don't take lightly, because she and Niecy, they were just extraordinary talents, just
yeah,
off the cuff.
yeah,
For me, I'm learning to get there. For me, I'm like, okay, give me a few minutes to think about what I want to do. But the more I'm doing what I do, that spontaneity and that just go for it, it comes. But that is a huge compliment. Taking the whatever I find my hands to do, it's come from knowing that I grew up in situations and in environments where it was always one day, one day, one day, one day, and it's like you look around and those that were saying one day are gone, and I was like, no, I'm gonna do what I can with what I have. I'm not, if I got $5, we gonna do $5 worth, and I do that. I live by that because I don't want to create a life of excuses. I want to look back and say, I did it. I did it with what I had, and God blessed it, and it still came out with excellence.
yeah,
It
absolutely.
wasn't no junk or mess. But I think we need to rid ourselves of the excuses and realize if we just do it, the provision will meet us with us just doing it.
So now, did you actually literally sing with the Pace Sisters, or you kind of branched off from the Pace Sisters? How did
I
that?
sang with them. I did reluctantly. I did, and it was some of the best grooming years of my life. And then the girls just pretty much stopped. They started ministering and doing their own revivals or whatever. So they would do spot dates, and then it was like God was like, now is the time.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And so,
yeah.
so then, of course, now was the next transition for you to? I think I saw you started doing backup for a lot of things that Donald Lawrence was a part of. Is that
Yes.
the transition?
I actually, that was before I ventured into doing doing the solo artist. I went to his Go Get Your Life Back recording,
Mhm.
and he saw me there and expressed an interest to work with me. I didn't even know he knew who I was. And since then, almost, I want to say about 20 years or close to 20 years, I've been doing background vocals with him.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you say to people that they have this they have this dream of being in the industry, period. Okay, but the fact that
Hmm.
you put in the work, you have really literally put in the work. What do you
Hmm.
on that needs that has that same drive or desire that you've had over the 20-year plus years? What do you say to them? What does it take? I guess.
I would first definitely just say make sure your motives for wanting it are pure. It's something God has called you to, and knowing that God, if He's called you to it, that's not the only thing He's called you to. It's not the end all be all. Because honestly, many people are just looking at the stage, or they're looking at posts, or they're looking at, just little glimpses of what they think they want. But a lot of people don't realize the sacrifices. We're all making some kind of sacrifice. I've been saying that lately with this space I've been in, because I realize I'm out here living the dream, not married, no family, no children, but that was a sacrifice. It wasn't an intentional sacrifice, but there are times I come back after I've left the stage and like, wow, it's just me.
Yeah.
okay, it's me and you, God. Help me to be content until you say something different. So I would say definitely check your motives as to why, and there is a price to be paid. Make sure God has equipped you to pay that price, and you just not out here doing it on your own.
What is the one thing you can take a nugget you can share with us that you actually got from Donald Lawrence?
Oh, that I got from Donald Lawrence. Ooh, it was so many things. Being mindful of the words I say. He
Okay.
has really driven that from the years that I've been with him. Being intentional with what I say, knowing that my words are creating my reality. God is listening, the heavens are listening, your prayers are being answered. So don't say anything contrary to what God has said. Just being mindful of what I'm saying. And if I can't articulate it, I'm gonna be quiet so I don't undo anything God is doing.
So in other words, the great character is what
Yes. Yes.
great
And a
character.
lot of times with that, you end up being quiet
Mhm.
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, you know what, man? You really, I mean, it says here you after 4 years of hiatus, you waited and find over the fans eagerly anticipating this return of you as a singer songwriter. I didn't know it actually had been 4 years before you actually did anything on your own. Is that what that means?
That's pretty much what they're saying on my own or and with the sisters, because
Okay.
like I said earlier, they got caught up in ministry. For me, I was still singing, with a lot of artists, due to my connection with Donald. We would do background vocals for whomever he was producing or whatever show he was producing. So I was always working, that, or yeah, leading worship, something. So I've always been working, but I think they're saying, with the group, it
Yeah.
was a hiatus,
Yeah.
and with caregiving.
So, in this process of preparing for this album, Exodus, The Journey to Obedience, Volume 2,
Yeah.
um, what was the process for you? I mean, of course, you got to get a great producer to envision what you see with the project, the
Yes.
writing, the writing skills. Tell us about this process.
Process was saying yes to God. Like, like what? Me? I ain't got nothing to say. What? No. But once I did that, I real remembered how Brien worked with Sean, and I loved um how productive they were. And I know it was pulling teeth sometime, Brien. But I remember, his work ethic with Sean, and knowing my budget, not not wanting to pay someone, but working with someone that I knew that they would trust me to make it up and
Mhm.
pay as I went, and understood the independent side of this. It was a no-brainer. I was like, okay, he's gonna understand, he's family, and it's gonna be excellent. So yeah.
And from your perspective, Brian, what was your response when she reached out to you?
Well, actually, it's funny how that happened. She called me and was needing assistance in trying to locate the producer that did all of
Ron
Ron
Canoli.
Canoli's music.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
I don't
so I
know.
was like, "Oh, okay." And she's like, "I don't know where to find them." And I had a few Nashville connections, so I said, "Well, let's see if we can find them." But in my mind, I didn't say it to her, but in my mind, I'm like, "Ron Canoli, really?" But I know Latrice's mind is huge.
It
Like,
is.
so when she think about something, bro, it's like it's gone. So I was like, doing my due diligence, reaching out, trying to find out, but we could not find any information on him. So in the process, doing that process, I had told Anita, I said, man, if we can't find this guy, I'm gonna ask Tracy, can I produce this project? And she was like, for real? I was like, yeah. She's like, well, do it. So when I called Tracy back, I was like, hey, I haven't had any luck. And she's like, okay, well, I guess we have to go back to the drawing board. I was like, no, I want to do it. And she's like, okay. Well, I guess you're the producer then.
Wow.
And you know what's interesting? I hit up Donald as well. And Donald was like, well, who did your first single? Why don't you could just recreate that sound, but use the person who did your last single.
Mm.
And it was just like confirmation on confirmation. I was like, okay, yep, here we go then.
Yep.
You did the first single. You did the first single.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, she all over the place, and here you go, right here in front of you.
Right. And that's with a lot of things.
Yeah.
That's us with a lot of things.
Yeah.
I mean, but
Yeah.
Ron Canoli, oh my God, he was one of my favorites back in the
Oh
day.
my God.
Oh, it was Ron Canoli. It was the duo of Ron Canoli and Don Moen. I was just like,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
oh,
Yeah,
but it was a time. That was then.
Right.
that's real epic right there. That's real epic. Ron Canoli, the Dom.
That was
Don
an era.
Moen.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I mean, you know what? You actually got that in Brien. You really do.
Absolutely.
Because this brother has not only been extraordinary in what he does,
Yes.
but to bring out what the product ends up with this morning. Oh my God!
Yeah.
Look
That
at
and beyond. I got Don and Ron and beyond. Brought up to date.
Yeah. Yeah.
Relevant.
this charting, and it's charting so wonderfully. I mean, what is it like for you to see the charts, the way the charts are moving for you on this song?
I'm just like, God is God. I tell people all the time, God does things in such a way where you can't point and say it was because you did this or because somebody else did that or somebody else. I'm literally just sitting back and like, God, do what you do.
Yeah.
It's awesome to see.
So Brien, in processing this, and you putting your name in the hat, so to speak, and saying to her, "Look, let me do it." When she accepted, how soon did you guys kind of start this process, or was it a sit down meeting type of thing? What happened?
No, it was immediately because
Yeah.
once again, if you know Latrice, if the Lord say go, she gone. She ain't gonna wait to tell her how fast she gotta go, any of that. She gone. So she had already had the wheels turning, like the vocals had already been selected. I think they had already started rehearsals. And so
Yeah.
we hadn't picked a band. She didn't have no band. She just rehearsing the ideals that the Lord had gave her. So so at that point, but I understood, number one, I highly respect her, and I understood who I was working with. And so we immediately got on the same ride and took off. So we started talking about personnel. The young man, Jerome Kirkland out of Pittsburgh, had been working with us on the previous single and project. So that's the first thing. We was like, well, we got to include him. He played a huge part of the sound. He was the co-producer and arranger for a lot of the music that you hear. And so shout out to him, Pittsburgh. And so when we started putting the band together, and from there I was very intentional because it was my first time producing a live recording. I've done studio projects, and so I knew it was a lot I didn't know, but I surrounded myself with people that knew.
Yeah.
And I even explained that to her. She was like,
Same
"Oh,
here.
you got so and so? Oh, you got?" I was like, "Yeah, these."
He pulled in A-list musicians.
Yeah.
Like for real. Yeah.
And so there were moments they would pull me to the side and be like, "Hey, you need to consider this," or "Hey, you consider that," and so it was a blessing. And from that, I still exercise that whole process of just making sure I surround myself with people that help me to get the job done. Sometimes people get caught up in titles, music director, producer, and they thinking it's a one-man show, and it can be.
Mhm.
However, I think administratively, and when you have the ability to pull a team together and see the final product,
Yes.
gratifying.
Yes.
No, it's good you say that, because a lot of times people do feel, because they have quote unquote a title, that they try to do everything. But yeah, as you say, pulling together a team of people that we can collab together makes the processes a whole lot easier, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So now, in this process of producing for Latrice, were there some times where y'all butted heads? Let's keep it real.
It was very minimal. It wasn't nothing
Yeah.
major.
Okay.
Yeah. And if it was, we talked, we communicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Help me
good.
remember. Yeah, but you would know. He would remember more. But maybe it
Yeah.
was.
And I think that was one of the things that we touched on before we started, because one of the things she said to me was, because she remembered my experiences with Sean, she's like, Brien, look, I'm not Sean.
Yeah.
I said, okay. And it did give me a sense of peace,
Yeah.
because I mean, hey, she's part of the bloodline. So even
Yeah.
though, but I respected
Yeah.
her for reassuring me. And then I just wanted to make sure that she understood I got her back.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to take her. I knew where she wanted to go, and I knew where she didn't want to go. But where
Yes.
she didn't want to go, I was like, you can't totally forsake,
Right.
because it's who you are.
That's the part I
Oh my
want to.
God.
It's
Yeah.
who you are. And
Yeah.
so, but we never really just had, she would express, like, even when we were going through the editing process and some of the songs were too long, I know enough from producing my own music. If you're talking about radio, it's better to just edit it before you release it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And instead of having radio edit it, or they just tell you, hey, it's too long. And
Right.
she was just like, oh Lord, you cutting my song.
But God gave me this.
God gave it. It's messing with the message. But okay. And one time I think she even posted about it on Facebook. And I think Zebulon Ellis was like, I get it, but hey, it's necessary.
Yep.
You know what's interesting about that? I literally had to tell an artist just last week, that a song that he sent me was too long. I literally said that. And I said to them, I said, you know what? You got to go back and edit, because I'm not going to play this song because it's too long. And I'm giving this advice now, because you're going to get it later if I don't tell you now.
Yes.
And you know what? They literally went back and edited the song, resent it back to me, and I played it last night. Literally, I played it last night. And so that you're right. An artist, they want all their stuff on the track. I understand that. I get it. But on
Everything.
the real, we're not gonna play all that. Okay, we got commercials to play. We got to get to another song. We got to get our talk in.
Yes. And we have to, as songwriters, we have to remember, okay, that part of the song really blessed you when God gave it to you. That was for you. So to help you articulate it. It's not necessarily meant to be recorded and it's gonna bless everybody the same way it blessed you. So you gotta really be okay with hearing those that are around you and knowing that they're telling you what's good for your benefit. Yeah. You gotta let it go.
And that's the importance of having a producer to basically bring, sort of like, reel you in, so to speak. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's somebody you
man.
trust. Because if you don't trust them, you're gonna be like, you don't know what you're talking about. I want this, and this is what God gave me, and this was gonna be,
Yeah. And see, the Pay sisters, they some strong women. They come from a strong mother.
Yes.
So,
and that's why I was intentional with saying that at the beginning. Okay, I'm gonna try to be a little different.
Right. No, that's good, because you can have certain versions on the album itself, but to send it to radio is only gonna play the edited version. I promise you.
And y'all don't have time to edit.
We won't, but we're not doing no editing. Okay, that's
Yeah.
your job. That's your job. That's your job, B.
Let's be smart from the beginning.
Right, from the beginning.
Yeah.
And that's a conversation I have even when I'm working in the jazz world. I tell the guys, the band that I'm with, I'm like, we working on a new project. Hey, y'all, this song is 6 minutes long. We might as well cut it down right now before we go in the studio.
Yeah.
Because if we're thinking radio, it's better to just record it according to make it radio friendly, but save everything else for the live shows.
Yeah.
And she was like that. I'm gonna throw her under the bus. She was like that for the live. The ideals that she had for the live Rodale.
They were out there. Yeah.
Really?
It was a combination of, what's his name? What's the other playwright? Dave Matthews? Tyler Perry.
I wanted to be a whole revival production.
Yeah,
like,
she was
it was like, I said, ma'am, no, we can't do that. I understand your theatrical side and you're good at it. But we're not going to hold these folk all night. I know you're trying to tell a story, but let's just sing these songs.
You know,
Put that on Tubi.
Right.
I think of radio the same way. That's why the station is called A Taste of Tradition. I want to give you a taste. I ain't trying to give you all of it. Because my thing is, I give you a taste now, a taste later, and I also say I give you a taste now because you won't be able to handle the whole thing.
Oh my God! So you got to come back.
Okay,
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
If you have that
Good.
same mindset when it comes to live recording, because again, they do hold us a little long in these live sessions. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But you got to get to a point to where you give people just a little bit of it. Be like, wow, you know what? This is going to be a great project because they didn't hold us all night.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of. I'm gonna go a little out of the box. I'm thinking of when I go to the Dove Awards every year in Nashville, which is being held tonight. As a matter of fact, while we were speaking,
Right.
Their production is from the time they start till they finish 2 hours. They're done. They're done. Yeah. They don't do no long drawing out and we're gonna redo this over. No,
no.
That's what I like about them. They are so precise.
That's Nashville for you.
Yes, and meticulous. To where we're gonna do this right the first time, and there'll be no retaping and be no restarting. No, we're not doing none of that. Yeah. So yeah. If you got a producer that shares that with you and helps you in that area, man, you got yourself something there. And speaking of practical, I wanted to get into that too because you're just not a singer-songwriter. Yeah, you're an actress. You get into different plays. I done seen you at what's the name of the play that be in Atlanta all the time?
Black Nativity.
Like this girl right here, she can act for real. So what inspired you, Latrice, to really get into the acting side of things? We all can act, of course. We have our, but you really honed into it and really got into it where it has made you really successful in that area. I mean, let's talk about your beginnings as well as where you are now. Go ahead.
Sean started that. I was out on the road with her while she was doing Tyler Perry's not What's Done in the Dark. I Know I've Been Changed. Mm-hmm. And I was out there as her personal assistant, and she had some dates that conflicted with the show. And I had to go up one time as her understudy. And
yes, I was
it
right
was
there.
Like I was bitten. Yeah. Wow. I started the show. Every night she started the show in pitch black with I Know I've Been Changed. And the time that I did it as her and they responded to me like they responded to her, I was like, I can do this. Yeah. And I've been doing it ever since. Tyler would call me every year after that to do another show of his. And then it was David Talbert. And I went on to start doing local Broadway type productions in the city because I really wanted to learn it like for real. I wanted to be taken seriously. So I just started doing more local productions, which pay little to nothing. And a lot of people wouldn't realize that. But when you're passionate about something, it doesn't matter because you're looking at the end game. I'm looking at, I don't mind getting $200 a week to get this training because my goal is to eventually get to Broadway where I can, get more. So that's how I ended up where I am. I took the local jobs that were paying little to nothing, but I loved it because I was learning from people who had gone to school to do it.
Yeah. So from there to where you are now, I understand you at a play now. Tell us about that.
Yes, the name of it, Jordan E. Cooper. He had like 7 or 8 Tony Award nominations last year for a show that he had on Broadway. I cannot remember the name of the show right now, but it was a very successful show. The show that he's doing now is Oh Happy Day. And it's an amazing story. Pretty much today, like a today story of Noah and the ark. I wouldn't do it justice trying to tell you what it's about. People would just have to come to Baltimore or catch it in New York next year.
New York, she said, New York, Brian.
Yeah.
New York.
So are you saying that's where you're headed with this play? Is that what you're saying?
I am saying that. Yes, I am saying that.
So has this been a long time dream of yours to be on Broadway?
It has been. Yes. Yep.
And why so? Why so?
Well, first of all, I just love the energy of a live audience. So I was really content with doing it with the traveling productions, but I received the word of prophecy that said God is sending you to Broadway. And then because of that word, it became a passion. Like, okay, well, that's where we're going with it. That's where I want to go because that's where he wants me to go. So I was really, that's how it started. But I was content just traveling. But God was like, no, we're going to go to New York with it.
It seems as if when you allow God to take your gift and do whatever he wants to do with it, and you surrender to that,
yeah,
all kinds of doors open. Has been the experience for you?
Absolutely. And the doors, they're not always all golden doors. Every door God opened is not golden. It doesn't feel good. It's not enjoyable. But I get pleasure in knowing that I'm doing his will and I'm pleasing him. So a lot of times we will do things we don't want to do, but it's like, God, I know this is part of the journey, and it'll all make sense eventually. Every door that he opened wasn't to a stage. Some of the doors was to caregiving. Some of the doors was to Amazon delivering packages, or whatever in the meantime, wherever he sends you, don't feel like you're beneath that. Like, God, surely you didn't. This is not the door for me. There are many doors, and they're all on different levels.
Is this where the title of the album, Exodus, The Journey to Obedience, Volume 2, come from?
Absolutely. Obey God no matter what. That's it. Period. Point blank. Opening night, a lady asked me here. She was like, "How are you able to do this with such confidence?" I said, "I'm just obeying God." And when you obey God, everything else lines up. The confidence lines up. The fear that go away, or it's tamed. You're standing in Him and knowing that you're doing His will. And her thing was, "Oh, I know what I'm supposed to be doing, but I said, look, I need you to obey God no matter what, because everything else you're waiting to come is all connected with that first yes, and then the next yes, and the next yes." And she was like, "Oh my God, you are not going to make me cry." I said, "That's my mission, to tell people obey God no matter what." That's it.
Yeah. Brien, as a producer, man, what do you see this young lady going, man, with all the gifts that God has given her? What do you perceive as a producer? Because producers can see other things that other people can't see in an artist. What do you see in Latrice, man?
Well, just even in this process of the project, I saw her humbleness on another level. Even on that night, it was so much that was happening that night of the recording, with the smoke setting off the alarm, and we were delayed probably a good hour, and it was just, it was just mind you, it's my first time producing a live, so I'm sitting up here like, now what the heck am I supposed to be doing while all this is going on? Thank God for Niecy at that time. She went and got the people going, but even watching her handle that, if she was worried about it, she didn't show it. She didn't let us see her sweat. I was calm, she was calm, and I'm just grateful for just her growth, her strength, her tenacity, because like she says, she's been through a lot prior to death, just in life, and being a preacher's kid is not easy by itself. Growing up in the Kojic church by itself has its, so it's so many things. But to watch her to develop and grow into this powerful young woman that she is, I love her, and it's a joy. I'm excited. I've already told her, look, we got to run this back.
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
But this time I need to be in on the beginning.
Right.
I
From
don't
the
want to be talking about
get-go.
wait for me. I'm trying to catch up. We're not doing that.
From the get-go.
From the
I got
beginning,
you.
Right.
please. You know.
They say, look, I'm taking you around the world and then come back, right?
I know.
But even with that, man, God was so faithful because
Ooh.
his hands was all on it. And
Yeah.
even the mistakes that we had, he still covered us.
Covered. Yes.
He covered us. You know, we had hiccups, you know,
Yeah.
but hey, he covered us, man. And
Yeah. Yeah.
who would have known that it, you know, would have
Doing
been
what it did.
nominated for a stellar,
Yeah.
you know, song of the year, producer of the year.
Yes.
Just, you know,
Yes.
I cried when I got that news. I cried.
Yes.
That morning I just boo-hoo because
Yes.
I've been a part of projects that's been nominated, but something that I have my hands
Oh, yeah.
on,
Completely.
you
Yeah.
know, yeah, it was just a, you know, and I thank you publicly. I've already told you, but
Yes.
just,
Thank you.
you know, it was just great
Yes.
experience. So
Yeah. One of my mentors, actually Donald Lawrence, he said, you all shouldn't take it lightly what your music is doing as an independent artist. This is huge. To be nominated, he was like to have been nominated in those categories with a lot of heavy weights. You know, he was like, that's a big thing, and I was like, it's a God thing, and he was just encouraging me because pretty much, and it's not anything to be upset about or to be tripping about or trying to feel like how I'm going to change it, but many people with the big wheels and the big well-oiled machines, of course there it's just only so much you can do as an indie. And I'm grateful for where we have gotten, but it's like, of course it's going to go to this one, that one, or that one because of. But he says, still don't take it lightly that you were named among them. So yeah.
I look at it as when you go to college and you earn your doctoral degree, nobody can ever take that away from you.
Yeah.
Nobody can ever take away from us that we are
That we
Stella Award
yes.
nominated,
Yeah.
whatever category.
Yeah. We
So
worked for that. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Latrice, where do you find the adjective that he used, being humbled? How does that translate to your upbringing from your parents' point of view? What does that come from? Your humbleness, the gifts you have, and the talents you have. What does that come from?
Knowing that I am nothing and I'm totally depending and relying on God. Like in any and everything I do, like I can never trust that, oh, you know how to sing, or you've done this song 1,000 times, you know where to go with it, you know how to get the people moving, you know how to, emote if you want to. I don't like playing with people like that though.
Yeah.
But it's knowing that at any moment it can be gone or it can be affected by something. But every time I grab a mic or hit a stage, God, I'm totally depending on you to pull me through this or to help whatever be there to be there and for people to be blessed and for me to not be ashamed. So yeah, it's just always knowing that it's God. It ain't never me. Like for real.
Once again, tell everybody about the CD itself and the title of it.
Exodus, the Journey of Obedience, Volume 2. Well, we got Volume 1 and 2. We've done it all. And Brien, I want I want to mention your project, Brien.
Yeah.
Oh, talk about the book.
The book
Oh,
too. Oh yes, the devotional. That's right.
I'm almost like you. It's like I'm in one.
See,
I'm in a
see.
whole nother space. So it's like when people ask me about music, when people be like, "Well, how the project going?" I'll be like,
Which
"Project," because
one?
I have not been in this music vein in a while.
Right,
I've
right.
been more writing and
The
on the book,
devotional.
but the
Yes.
single is still doing great.
Yes.
Atmosphere is still doing great, and so, but as well as the book, I was on Rodell's show a while
Yeah,
back talking
Yeah.
about the book, The Journey of Faith. So
absolutely.
yeah,
No,
Yeah.
I
That
second.
journeys, these
the
journeys.
journey. There you go.
Listen.
That's really why I like having these kinds of talks, to allow our audience to see the journey that you both have been on to get to where you are, and realize that it just doesn't happen overnight. People,
Oh no.
there's things we go through. There's trials and tribulations that we bear, and to know that God can still, in the midst of all of that, bring you out and showcase you in a way everybody sees you and knows you and recognizes you. And of course, God gets the glory. Ultimately, He gets all the glory out of our lives. And so,
Mhm.
the most important thing is that God get the glory. And I tell you, man, God has really blessed the both of you to do what you do. And I just encourage you to keep doing it because we need people like you in the kingdom. We really do. There are some people I talked about this last night on my show with, with a lot of fakeness in this industry. It's a lot
Oh
of
my
fake.
God.
And we need some real people. I was playing a song by Slim and the Supreme Angel. God wants somebody that's real.
Yes.
And that's really all He wants.
Yeah.
He wants us to be real in whatever we do
Yes.
for Him. It's
Yes.
not for us. It's for Him.
Yes.
And if we do it His way, as you said, it's a God thing, it always turns out the best. Because
Yeah.
the moment I heard it's morning, I knew right away it was a hit.
Wow.
I knew right away. I was like, okay, this gonna go places right here.
Wow.
It's just when you hear something,
Thank you, Lord.
being around as long as I've been in this industry, you hear
Oh
something,
yeah.
it don't take long to notice right
You
away.
would know. Yes.
When I started moving up the chart, I said, I'm not surprised.
Wow.
Mhm.
That's the
Yeah.
who you messing with?
Yeah.
That's the free space. She
And
not here.
see, and even with that, she didn't get a chance to touch on that, man. But how she was able to, because sometimes as independent artists, it's easy to get comfortable with just a little bit of success.
Yeah.
So she could have stopped at the fact that, hey, I got this project out, it's released, it's making a buzz. No, every morning you were seeing something about her and some flowers or something.
Yep.
She's somewhere on social media, every week, and then the next thing you know, I heard her on one of the interviews, she talked about how as the money started coming in, because God gave her favor, because she had a lot of us on, I guess you could say, layaway.
Yep.
But we
Yes.
believed in the vision and believed in
Yes.
her. I wasn't even doing it for the money. I just
Yeah.
wanted the opportunity
Yeah.
and wanted to just see it successful.
Yeah.
But even as the money started coming in, she went right back and was taking care of everybody. Went right back and put more money into the project and just so with the favor of God and her, like I said, the tenacity and her being willing to continue to invest to see it chart and do what it's doing, you can't help but for it to be successful.
Yeah.
I always say, if you invest in yourself, God will take care of the rest.
Ooh,
Yes.
You got, because people expect things to just come their way. What are you doing for yourself?
yeah.
Right. Yeah. I
So
tell people all the time, don't go shopping with your royalty money. Put it back into the project. You
Mm-hmm.
trying to build something,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In closing, Latrice, share with our audience what you would like for them to know from not only this project, but from you as an individual, how God has blessed you thus far.
Oh, that he really does have a plan. And he's not out here winging it with us. He's not out here toying with us and, playing trick or treat. He really does have a plan, and that everything you are dealing with and has dealt with, it's all working together for the greater good. You don't see it now, it doesn't feel good now, but eventually you'll be like, oh, God, I get it. You truly are God. And you really did have me in mind. You haven't forgotten about me. You did remember. That's what I want them to know.
Brien?
Oh, ask the question again. I was so caught up in her. I'm
Well,
sorry.
okay,
He
I'll say
thinking about the next project.
I would say then I'll ask you this way, Brien, for as a producer, that maybe someone may be watching the show and wanting to know, okay, what does it take for me to get a Brien Andrews as a producer? What does it take, as well as some of the nuggets that you would pass on to encourage others with what you've done with this project? Because it's morning, y'all. It's morning.
Yes, it is.
I think the biggest thing is that I learned and appreciated was, even though I had the producer hat, I also had someone that operated in the co-producer seat, and also had Latrice that we were actually able to partner together to birth this, the music, the ideal, the creativity. So I would always say you have to be flexible from the artist side as well as the producer side. I've heard horror stories of producers just being like, no, this is what I say and what I say goes. But then you forsake the vision of the artist, the heart of the artist. And that was one of the things I wanted to make sure that I didn't do in the process, was to forsake her heart. And, I believe she saved a little bit. So, I wasn't going to mess with God and her relationship, So, I mean, if God is speaking to her, hey, God, I want to be in line because I don't want you getting on me because I'll mess with your child.
Right.
So, so just finding that balance, when you're in those situations, finding the balance of being able to help bring the vision to pass.
So
And
did
what
I?
it takes to work with the Brien, just call him. That was the other question he asked. Just call him.
Yeah,
and
just
pay
call him.
Yeah. Reach out to him, even if you got to get him through social media. He's on social media as well.
So we got layaway plans. But no, I'll work with anybody, man, as long as their heart is sincere, and and my schedule allows it, and we can birth something that's beautiful. I'm down for it.
In closing, Latrice, did I see somewhere where the Pacers was singing somewhere recently? Are they coming back together or something? What's going on?
They were singing at Lydia's church for something. As far as coming back together, we're working on it.
Okay.
God is in the building. Hey.
You know what? I'm glad to hear that, because that talent is just so it's timeless. Not only that, but it's endless. You got other generations coming along, but behind them, as of course the Sean daughter and
my nieces and nephews are amazing. Amazing.
Her and DeMarcus,
yes, they're amazing.
Much success on this project. It don't need much because God already got His hands in it. But
we got the next single.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, your producer know what to do. or if you need another ear, call me. I'll see what I can do to help out.
Oh yeah.
Sure will.
I like hearing the project itself is moving in such a way to where it's making a difference. So yeah, keep this momentum going, man, because it's on my playlist. I play it every time I get a chance. I'm playing it.
Thank you.
It's a good record, man.
Thank you.
That's why I wanted to take the time to just let's talk about it. I can easily play the song. They can go and get it. Tell them where they can get it at, as a matter of fact, while we talk.
You can get it at any digital platform, wherever you listen to your music or even stream your music. It's everywhere.
Yeah, Latrice Pace, man, this morning. Y'all keep doing what y'all doing, because you're on the right track. And blessings to both of you, and keep up the good work until next time. It's been a pleasure. Thank you guys for being with us today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
And thank
you, Brien. Love you, Rodale.
Yeah, thank you guys for being with us on the show today on Real Talk with Rodale with Latrice and Brien Andrews right here on